In today's video, I'm going to be putting my baking skills to the test yet again and trying to cook the world's biggest Oreo cookie. Or at least a gross monster that I will call the world's biggest Oreo cookie. Then I'll be testing the elasticity of my intestines by trying to stuff the gargantuan Oreo monster into my stomach. Plus more things you guys dared me to do in the comment section. And guys, make sure to like this video because I just got off the phone with Santa. And he said if we get this video to 10,000 likes, there's gonna be a Christmas in July. I know, I'm pretty psyched about this too. Let's hope we can get there. All right, now let's get this thing started. All right guys, I'm back with another challenge and another f***ed up haircut. I did decide to finally do something about my hair, and I cut the sides, which maybe made it worse. But it'll always grow back. Until you're old, and it doesn't anymore. That being said, what we're trying to do here today is cook the world's biggest Oreo cookie. Or at least the biggest one I've ever seen. And after that, I'm gonna be taking on the even worse sounding challenge of eating the damn thing. Over here I have dished out all the different ingredients that I'm gonna need. I'm actually really excited to do this one because I absolutely love Oreos. And I know you guys love food challenges. That being said, I'm not much of a chef. And this is gonna be a pretty complicated baking session here. What I'm gonna be doing is following a recipe from urinskitchen.com where they show you how to make your own DIY Oreos. And I'm gonna basically be taking the entire recipe and combining it to make one giant cookie. So if this doesn't work out, we should all go to the creators of this website and throw rocks at them. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the ingredients that you're gonna need if you wanna try this at home, you need 1 1/4 cups of cocoa powder, 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of butter, 1 1/2 cups of granulated sugar, half a cup of light brown sugar, 1 large egg and 1 egg yolk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of instant coffee dissolved in a half a teaspoon of water, which I thought was the weirdest ingredient out of them all, and 6 ounces of rolling fondant icing. I'll leave a list of the ingredients in the description. For the first step, what you're going to want to do is take your cocoa powder, your flour, your baking powder, and your salt, and sift them all together. But of course, I do not have a sifter, so I'm just going to try to mix them together the best I can. I'm gonna try to just mix this in with a fork, and it actually seems like it's doing an okay job. Like I said, I'm no master chef. But what I lack in skill, I will make up for with determination. This cookie is gonna happen. So now, just to paraphrase the original directions, you were supposed to mix all these together as best we can. They actually use the term cream, which has its own meaning. But just to not overcomplicate everything, we're gonna mix everything together now. Now is basically the last step in making the cookies, which is mixing the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. It looks like my dough is about done. I was stirring it up and only a couple of turds fell out. Now I'm gonna be putting the dough into my cookie sheets. These are actually cake pans. I'm gonna be making each side of the Oreo in one of these things. So now I'm gonna just take these things, throw them in the fridge for a little bit, then I'm gonna pop them in the oven at 325, and hopefully I can get these damn things out of there when it's done. I'm a little bit worried that they're gonna stick because I didn't even grease the pan before we started, and yes, I am stupid if that's what you were wondering. Okay, let's get this thing going. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes. The Oreos look about the same. They do seem to have solidified just a little bit, but I'm gonna put them in the oven now. It's been preheating, and this should be done in about 20 minutes. So while this is cooking, I'm gonna work on the icing. This is fondant icing. This is what we're gonna be using in the middle of our Oreo. Essentially from the directions that I read, what we're supposed to be doing now is rolling the fondant out, making it nice and flat, and cutting the small individual Oreos out with a cookie cutter. But we're not making a bunch of little Oreos like normal. We're making one giant one. So I'm basically just gonna be trying to make this thing flat and about the same shape that we need it to be. So here we go, and if you ask me, that's a lot of Oreo icing. I'll brush this thing with some milk, because that's what it called for in the instructions, and I will mow down on the world's biggest Oreo cookie. Time to check out the Oreo cookies and see how they're doing. I want to give it just a little test to see how hard it is. It actually seems like it's ready. Now I'm just gonna let these cool for a little bit, and then I'll add the icing, and we'll get this thing going. To be honest, I'm not looking forward to eating all of this stuff. I really like Oreos, but I'm afraid it might not taste exactly like a normal Oreo. I've never tried this DIY recipe. It could end up being absolutely disgusting, and then I have to eat a ridiculous amount of that absolutely disgusting cookie. Either way, it's several pounds of food, and it's probably gonna be impossible to finish either way, but I'm gonna give it my absolute all. I almost expect to be puking Oreo before this thing is over with. The next part of this project is definitely gonna test my baking abilities, because I'm gonna have to try to get these things out of the pans without breaking them completely. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a f***ed up looking Oreo. And unfortunately, after looking at the size of these things, This doesn't look like it's gonna be quite big enough. That's what she said. But the good thing is I have an entire block of cracked cocaine, fondant icing right here. So this is 6 ounces of fondant icing, which is the exact recommended amount for this much cookie. So seeing as how measurements don't work, I'm just gonna break off a big old chunk of this stuff, mush it in there, and hopefully it works out. And since I don't have a rolling pin, I'm gonna be using this. This next part, like I said, is gonna be pretty tricky. I really need this thing to come out in one piece, so we'll see what we can do. Okay, I got one giant crumbly mess here. So I was able to get it out of the pan, and now it's just a big crumbly pile of dog shit. One thing that it said to do was put a little bit of milk onto the fondant icing. Perfect. I swear when I'm done, it's gonna look like an Oreo. Oh, hell yes. So now I'm just gonna be attempting to put the gigantic Oreo onto this piece of wax paper. I just wanted to really film this in case something disastrous happens. We have made a full cookie transplant! Okay, it's gonna be a lot easier to eat now that it's on this thing. Aside from the fact that it's probably like 10 pounds of Oreo. Here's my master creation, the world's biggest Oreo, or something close to it. It's absolutely massive and it looks kinda shitty, but it does look fairly close to an Oreo. It's just maybe one that had been sat on or something. But the most important thing is not how it looks, it's how it tastes. And that being said, I'm gonna do my best to destroy every bit of this gigantic monster, even though it might taste disgusting, and I'm a terrible chef. Now, I've gotta admit, I'm a little bit afraid of this thing. It's just kind of intimidating. But I won't really know how evil this thing is until I bite into it. So let's get this thing going. It actually tastes surprisingly like an Oreo. That's not half bad. I mean, I don't know how you feel about fondant icing, but when the fondant icing is sitting between the cookies overnight, I think it gets a little bit of the sweetness from it, and it tastes a lot less disgusting than you'd think. Unfortunately, this looks like it might have been another case of eyes bigger than your stomach, because I feel like I got off to a pretty good start, but that wouldn't last for long. Each bite is getting more and more difficult, and I still have a lot of Oreo left. And by the way, it does not really taste like Oreo after you've been eating it for a while. I'm starting to feel pretty sick here. Be careful if you're doing eating challenges at home. This much poorly made Oreo will make you very ill, but that is a lot of Oreo left, and I don't want to leave that much on my plate. It was only at this point that I realized the fondant icing was starting to turn on me. Also, this has eggs in it, and I'm not sure if I cooked it completely, which is my fault, which is why I will be paying the consequences dearly. One last bite. Well, that did not go as planned. Not only was my cookie falling apart the whole time I was eating it, so there was that aspect. Then there was the fact that it was tasting like absolute dog shit. The more I ate it, the more disgusting it tasted, which was a problem because there was a whole lot of that stuff. I kind of knew looking at that last bite that I wasn't gonna be able to do it. And I was definitely trying to listen to your guys' feedback on the last video, because I know you guys want me to see this thing through, and I tried and I just vomited all over the place, and it's really disgusting. So I'm gonna wrap this up quickly because, to be honest, I absolutely have to clean that up right now. I might need to puke a little bit first, but after that, I'm going to clean the mess up. And that being said, we'll be on to the next dare. And guys, I'm always up for a good challenge, so make sure to leave me your dares in the comment section. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you've yet to have done that. Also, if you'd actually like to see the videos, you have to bell me for notifications. And make sure to follow me on social media. I have all the links in the description below. But before you go, I have yet another amazing playlist that I put together just for you. All right, thanks guys, bye.